Hmm. Today, I want to tell you the story about how I went from 190 pounds to 130 pounds. Now, I wish I could say that this story is full of betrayal and twists and turns, and it's going to have some of that, but if nothing else, this story is going to be it's going to be kind of informal, so you might have to think about it a little, but I did go from 190 to 130, and I didn't do anything particularly special to drop 60 pounds. And I'll be solving the Rubik's Cube a couple of times. Anyways, a couple of years ago, I don't know if there's like a word for this or anything, but a couple of years ago, I woke up one day and something in my brain just kind of snapped, and my brain said, "Hey, you are going to become a healthier and a better person, and you don't really have the choice about it." So that's really when I started to lose weight. That's where I started, anyways. When my brain said, "Hey, become a better person," and I didn't have a choice about it, I started with losing weight because I figured that would be a very good place. It was the thing that I was the most concerned with, and so I sat there and I really thought about it. And after a little time of thinking, I figured that the best way to start losing weight was to watch what I ate and be more accountable or more involved in what I ate. That sounds kind of weird, but that, that sounds weird. But what I really mean by that is I wanted to start learning to cook the foods because that gives you the most control. So that's how I became more involved with what I was eating or what I ate, really. And this choice, this choice was very, very good for me, and I think it's very, very good for everyone. Learning to cook is very powerful. You control the calories. You get the most amount of control over the calories, and you don't have to cut anything out of your diet. If you're craving pancakes, you can make pancakes. If you're craving banana bread, you can make banana bread, and you can make these things fit into your calorie allowance, your caloric allowance, and be fine. I think it's very, very powerful for weight loss, is just learning to cook, and you can take it literally as far as you want. If you don't want to learn to cook and just learning how to steam broccoli and rice and pan fry a piece of chicken is all you want to learn to do, then that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to learn to make beautiful risottos and chicken carbonara, egg fried rice, because these are the foods you like to eat, and you want to be able to continue eating them, you just learn to cook. That way you can force it to fit better in your caloric allowance. And they're very useful skills to have. I learned to tell when vegetables, the green vegetables, when they're done cooking just by the color change. So what happens, right? Here's kind of an example. This green here would probably be an overcooked piece of vegetable. So or maybe this is where it starts out, but what happens is the chlorophyll in the veggies, it will get excited, and they will expand, and they'll get excited, and it'll go from a light green to a dark green. This dark green is when you want to pull the veggies out, because if you continue cooking them, they become a throw up or pale throw up green, and that's overcooked. And the overcooked veggies is what starts to taste bitter, kind of bitter and not good. So you want to cook your green vegetables to a nice dark green and then pull them off. And I would never have had that knowledge if I didn't learn to cook. Cooking helped. I think I'm done with that. After I learned to cook, once I was comfortable with my abilities to cook with a bunch of my foods that I wanted to eat throughout the diet, that's when I started counting them. And before I even started counting calories, I think I dropped like 15 pounds. Like, it was pretty crazy, just the genuine shift in foods. But what really pushed the weight down was counting calories. And all I did for that was a scale and an app on my phone. And I also, after a little while, started journaling. I don't really want to move my camera, but I started journaling. And the most important part that I feel about the journal is doing this calendar where I wrote down each day's, and I wrote down up top how many calories I could have for that day. And then I signed each day. I think that was very big. It kept me accountable. And since no one else was losing the weight for me, I had to be accountable for myself. The other big thing was writing here. This is a summary of the week. I just wrote down a summary of the week. That was helpful, especially because I had roommates that sort of tried to sabotage my weight loss. Here's the betrayal. I had roommates that tried to sabotage my weight loss. One of them tried harder than the other, and I don't know if they really like knew what they were doing or how it could be perceived, but it still happened. I kind of just ignored it. But I had a roommate. Dude is 300 pounds, maybe more, but 300 pounds and only like 5'8", so he was very, very heavy. So much so that he started self-medicating. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, that part. But he tried to sit there and tell me that he knew how to lose weight better than me because he was a chef at a hospital. And I'm like, I'm just looking there like, really, dude? I'm already down 20 pounds and you're going to try to correct me on it? It's laughable. Comical reasoning there. His fiance also tried. I was making pancakes. I was craving pancakes. I wanted pancakes. I made pancakes. And now I have this very good pancake recipe that is reasonable in calories and has 31 grams of protein, which is ridiculously good for pancakes. So I can enjoy pancakes without having to feel guilty about it. But when I was first making the pancakes, I measured out the syrup that I put on it. 'Cause you gotta have something with your pancakes, right? I measured out the syrup, and she saw me doing this and was like, "Oh, baby, just pour with your heart. Pour all over it." And I'm like, "Bro, I can hear your heart from here." She was literally 300 pounds and had joint problems too. And like, I could hear her heart screaming from there. Like, I'm actually listening to my heart. My heart wants me to be healthy. But okay. It was also funny. That was the only time she tried to say anything. So she probably didn't mean it, but that doesn't mean I didn't perceive it that way. And I really that kind of stuck with me until I wrote it down into my journal, and then I ended up forgetting about it. Not forgetting about it, but I ended up not harping on it as much. So learning to cook, journaling, and like actually tracking it with a scale and an app were the things that really, really helped. I also dropped soda, but that was a little harder to do. I had to every time I took a sip of soda, this took me like a month, but every time I took a sip, I told myself that it tasted terrible and it was gross. And eventually, after about a month, I had a sip of soda and I could feel my blood becoming sticky, and I threw the soda away and didn't drink it for like another year or so. But I didn't have to stop drinking soda. I could have made it fit in my calories. I just didn't want to. I wanted to be able to eat more food, and since soda was so empty. Oh, and I can't drink artificial soda. It tastes not good. I can tell when it has fake sweetener. Even if it's a drink that I've never had, I will be able to taste. I will have that lingering taste of artificial sweetener. I can't do fake sodas or fake sweetener. I looked into keto when I was first trying to lose weight. It popped up when I was doing some research and stuff. And I thought about it for a little while, and it seemed not good. It seemed very scummy and scammy, really. At least the people that were peddling it seemed scammy, but the whole idea seemed stupid, like designed to fail. And to be honest, the more the people who peddle it the hardest post, the more I get vindicated on the fact that they are kind of scammy, scummy people. And the more information that comes out on keto, the more vindicated I feel. Because at first, when I was looking into it, at first it was all about, not having carbs in general. But then people realize that, hey, you kind of need fiber. Not having fiber in your life is kind of terrible. So then it shifted from zero carbs or very, very low carbs to net carbs. And it's just like, why are we moving the goalpost? We should have never, it shouldn't, I personally think keto should never be considered for weight loss. And I can make a very solid argument too against using keto for weight loss, but it's my channel and I don't have to debate that. So I won't. The other thing I tried doing was intermittent fasting, but it also wasn't good. Yeah, I found intermittent fasting to be kind of a pain. Between my job, I would struggle to be able to eat on time. I had a job that got busy kind of randomly. It was fast food, I think, at the time. It got busy randomly, so I wasn't really able to plan. And that's like the part that I think intermittent fasting really needs, is you need to be able to plan your meals. And at that point, why even bother intermittent fasting if you plan on eating at a certain time anyways? There's no real reason to intermittently fast. So it became a chore for me. And I think it becomes a chore for a lot of people who don't necessarily have a very consistent life. There's also new research coming out about it that makes it seem very iffy. I don't know. I lost 60 pounds without doing it, so. I shouldn't be telling you this. This is kind of embarrassing, but I also lost weight without exercising. Between the low calories that I was eating, because it was like 15 to 1800 calories, I went to try to do a push-up, and I just couldn't do a single push-up. Between being so out of shape and having a genuine lack of energy, I couldn't do a single push-up. But now, a couple years later, now I can bench 215, and I'm kind of happy with that. Especially because I prefer doing body weight exercises anyways. But yeah, you don't have to work out to lose weight either. And when I did lose weight, I started running, started doing cardio more. Instead of doing it while I was trying to lose weight, I focused on the weight loss. And then after I started doing exercising and cardio and stuff, I think too many people split the baby too many ways, and it becomes like too hard to focus on what you need to be doing, and it makes it too difficult. I think I would say that you should be focusing on one thing at a time, and getting it to a point where when you do choose to do something else, when you do choose to move on to do something else, whatever you're doing previously becomes a way for you to enhance your new whatever it is you're focusing on. Like, I didn't start trying to calorie count until I learned to cook. And because I learned to cook first, I was able to more focus on calorie counting and still like cook whatever. And now I am able to focus on exercising to be healthy, and this cooking and this maintaining my weight and calories, they become a way to enhance my ability to be physically fit and stuff. Yeah, that's my story.